Philippines. So you don't have to give your answers now, but just ask yourself, or maybe try answering them again later. So this is an outline map of the Philippines. I would like our participants to name at least, I don't know, 10 provinces, municipalities in this map. Mas maganda yung mas malayo dun sa ating comfort zone, no? So if we are from Luzon, maybe we can try to figure out something from Visayas and Mindanao. That goes to other places. Kung taga Mindanao, maybe you can try answering from Luzon, no? So I will give us 10 seconds to name siguro 10 din na provinces that you can. So let's start the timer. Let's start the 10 seconds now. Okay, time's up. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the map of the Philippines. Ayan. So tignan nyo lang ninyo. You check your answer if how many did you get. So don't worry if you didn't figure out creating or giving 10 answers, and kudos if you did a great job. So you see, this is not a test of your love of country. No, it is just something to ponder on how much of the little things we know about the Philippines. Although, of course, it wouldn't hurt if we know we actually know all of them. Next slide. Now, let me first give you some statistics about the Philippines. No, we have currently we have 81 provinces and with 1,489 municipalities and approximately 7,641 islands, 130 languages, and over 107 million population. So, given the statistics, we can somehow show the picture of how rich we are as regards our natural and cultural heritage. Imagine we have more than 7,000 islands. That means long and beautiful beaches, not to mention the biodiversity that those long coastline bring. 130 languages, almost 1,500 municipalities that more or less have their own Spanish or American colonial edifices in them. One will surely find something in her or his own hometown, which leads us to the question, what is heritage? Next slide. Okay, so what is heritage? Heritage is related to the words inherit, hereditary, or in Spanish, herencia. No? So all of this speaks of something in common, your roots, our roots. No? So heritage speaks of our legacy from the past that we pass on from one generation to another. That is according to UNESCO. Next. An equivalent term in Pangasinan, nasabi na kanina ni Nick doon sa kanyang opening remarks, no, yung Tawir or Tawid, no, which I figure out might be similar to the Tagalog word tawid, which means to cross, or as in to cross the street, in which case could also mean crossing from one generation to another. No? So this is the beautiful Pangasinan word. Next. So the UNESCO has designated 3 categories of heritage sites. They are called natural sites, cultural sites, and mixed sites, or a mixture of cultural and natural sites, or those exhibiting both natural and cultural values. So before we go to cultural heritage, which is the main topic of our lecture today, let me just give you an example of the natural heritage and the mixed heritage so that we can have a fuller appreciation of what heritage is. So On your screen, you can see an example or examples of natural heritage. On our right, the tree, that's the kamagong tree, is a tree prized for its hardwood. So it's being used in many occasions. So pwede siyang furniture, pwede siyang parts of the house. And another natural heritage that we can see there is, as an example, is the 100 Islands in Pangasinan. So aside from its beaches that many tourists go to, it is also a unique geological landscape. No, it's a karst formation. And then the tamaraw, of course, the tamaraw is an endangered species commonly found in the island of Mindoro. Next. So in the Philippines, we do not have yet an inscribed or officially inscribed at the World Heritage Site a mixed site. No, wala pa tayong mixed site dito sa Philippines. Although the closer should be yung ating rice terraces, but it is only declared as a cultural landscape by the UNESCO. Okay, so on your screen you can see here yung Machu Picchu in Peru. So it is a remnant of the great Inca civilization. At the same time, its natural setting or its surrounding encompasses the Amazon basin, which is rich in diversity of flora and fauna. So that is what mixed site is. So meron kang cultural, which in this case, yung remnants ng Inca civilization, and then you also have around the area a natural setting or a natural heritage that is diverse and unique in the world. Next. Now we go to cultural heritage. So ngayon, now that we know what natural heritage is and the mixed heritage is, we go now to the cultural heritage. So ano nga ba yung cultural heritage? Cultural heritage is defined as a totality of cultural properties preserved and developed over time and passed on for posterity. So later on, I will give you examples of cultural heritage, and it is also a people's cultural heritage also serves as a national memory. So it is an imprint from the past, that we try to let the future or the present and the future people of our nation to enjoy it also. Next. So, cultural heritage. In cultural heritage, we have two types of cultural heritage, now tangible and intangible. So, sa tangible, we can further subdivide it into movable and immovable. So, pag sinabi nating tangible, ito yung ating mga nakikita, na hawakan, or even nalalasahan, naririnig, no? Naririnig pala is intangible because music is intangible. Okay, so, and immovable, movable naman, ito yung mga tangible heritage na maaaring ilipat, pwedeng galawin. Immovable are those that cannot be moved. And intangible, yung hindi natin nakikita, hindi natin nahawakan, maaaring nakikita natin, of course. But it's more of an experience. Intangible heritage is more of an experience. So next. So these are example of movable heritage, tangible movable heritage. So on your right, we have here an icon, the crucifix, crucified Christ is there. Commonly makikita natin yan sa simbahan. But this particular example that I have here for you can be found in the UST Museum. So this is the longest one-piece ivory icon in the Philippines. So yung kanyang buong katawan ay isang buong ivory tusk, o isang buong tusk. Natatanggal yung arms at saka yung extension ng kanyang loincloth. And then we have here on your right some of the museum pieces from Bayumbong, Nueva Vizcaya. So, ayan yung mga tipo na pwedeng galawin. Like your furniture, you have, of course, the clothes, no? And marami pang example in movable heritage. Next. Ito naman yung mga immovable, those that we cannot move. So, we have your an old house. That particular example of an old house is found in Alaminos, Pangasinan. We have here also the church, of course, our heritage churches. Ayan, madami tayo niyan here in the Philippines. And on the lower right hand is an archival photo of the Capitol building of Pangasinan. Next. Here we can see, here I will show you a video of Fuga Island dance. Pero ito, we went to Apari 2 years ago just to document this dance. So this is one of the fine examples that I can give you of an intangible cultural heritage. Paki-play please. Thank you. Ayan, thank you. So this particular dance, it's very rare for people to see this. That's why ito rin yung kinuha kong example of an intangible cultural heritage. The intangible cultural heritage are not only dances, it could be rituals, yung ating bogwa sa Cordillera or washing of the bones, yung pag-chant ng hudhud sa rice terraces, music, church music is part of it. Yun yung minsan nakakalimutan natin, no? So, ano pa ba? There are many other intangible cultural heritage around us. Yung paggawa ng palaspas is an intangible cultural heritage. Yung ating mga handicrafts, yung the procedure of that are intangible cultural heritage. And when you go around, you will see a lot of them. Next, please. So food. Yung food naman depende, no? So food depende kung paano mo siya gustong tignan, no? It could be tangible or intangible. Tangible, halimbawa gusto mong pag-aralan yung pambalot ng tupig o yung mga kung ano-ano pang pwedeng ipambalot sa pagkain, that's tangible. But the process of halimbawa paggawa ng tupig, yun that's intangible. So food can both be an example of tangible and intangible heritage. So dito here on your screen, you can see there yung tupig. On the middle, these are the some food from Batangas. And on your right, on the rightmost, are example of food from Nueva Vizcaya. Next. So why is cultural heritage important? So bakit nga ba, why do we bother studying cultural heritage? At bakit ang daming tao na really concerned kapag dinedemolish yung mga dinedemolish building. Dito sa Manila, madaming dinedemolish dito na mga buildings katulad sa yung mga Art Deco building sa Escolta, or even in Pangasinan, meron ding mga examples of heritage buildings that are being demolished. So why do we bother? So first, it is the DNA of our nation. Ano ba yung DNA? No? So DNA, ito yung what makes us unique. What makes us, it makes up our identity as a person. So imagine if you do not know your ancestry or your history. Imagine hindi mo alam kung paano napasayo yung lupa o bahay lupa na tinitirikan ng bahay mo. So these things are handed down to you by your great-great-grandfather. So if you do not know kung paano napunta sa iyo yung lupa na yan, or you do not know the history of your family, imagine kung paano mo i-defend yung lupa to someone who's posing a claim on it. So ganun ka-importante yung ating pag-alam ng ating kulturang pamana, no? It apart from that, the cultural heritage is also how a nation reveal its identity. So yung cultural heritage is not only something personal. It is also something that is shared. It is communal, no? It is shared patrimony that binds us as people. So if we know what are the things that bind us as a nation, it can foster unity among the people. So, if we know our identity, alam natin na tayo ay magkakabit bilang mga tao, we will know that we are one as people. Next. Next, please. Okay. So, sorry, hindi yata ito yung next. The previous slide, please. So, ayan, minsan nakakalimot tayo. So, we forget kung saan tayo nagmula, or we didn't get to study them. So, that's where cultural institutions can help us. I don't claim that these cultural institutions can instantly bring about change in us as persons. Pero these cultural institutions have the mandate to get the cultural heritage closer to more people. So we have here museums, no, the traditional museums. Sana naman you have experience going to museums. We have galleries. So the difference between museum and galleries is that galleries are more commercial, no, for commercial use. So the paintings will be displayed on galleries for it to be sold. And we have our libraries, we have our archives. So yung library, when I'm going about in Pangasinan, nakita ko yung mga municipalities have their own libraries. No, pero minsan walang tao, or minsan walang laman. So library can really be useful for people, especially when researching about certain municipalities, localities. And of course, we have for more specialized collections, we have the archives. So sa archives, dito, dun sa picture, nakikita ninyo sa larawan on your screen, this is an actual photo taken from the University of Santo Tomas archives. When I got this photo when I did my when I was doing my internship in the UST archive. So dito, you can see here the process of digitization. So digitize ng UST archives dito yung copies of La Solidaridad. So archives are cultural institutions. And I would like to add in also yung mga theaters and cinemas, o yung mga venues of performing arts. Kasi it's some sort of a living museum. You see there people performing, or even cinemas, yung ating mga film festivals that recently madaming mga film festivals that can really provoke thoughts of people, especially about social situations. And of course, we have historical societies and heritage foundations. Katulad ng Youth for Pangasinan Heritage is it is a group, it is a society that aims for the development of cultural heritage in Pangasinan. Next, please. Okay. So this is an example of traditional museums, traditional cultural institutions. Meron tayong museums. On your left is a museum. It's from the Museum of Nueva Vizcaya, Bayumbong Nueva Vizcaya. And then on your in the middle is a beautiful museum in Ilocos Norte, in San Nicolas, Ilocos Norte. And on your right is one of our exhibits in the UST library. Next. So even if we have these so-called museums around us, yung mga institutionalized museum, I always believe that the world is a living museum. So kahit na yung ating mga sa ating kapaligiran lang, we can already create a museum for our own. Next, please. Halimbawa, yung simbahan, no? Yung simbahan, our Spanish colonial churches can offer a lot of things for those who would like to study our cultural heritage. Usually nga, the church is very active in the conservation of the cultural heritage of the church. So yung simbahan, whenever I go to field works, because my research is on cultural heritage of the church, whenever I go to the Spanish colonial churches, I'll go around and see a lot of interesting materials. So on our left, I saw that in Lingayen, that's in the baptistry of Lingayen. So makikita nyo dyan the image of John the Baptist, John the Baptist baptizing Christ. So this one is a work of art. So meron sa atin, halimbawa, meron sa ating mga non-Catholics. Even if you are non-Catholics, you can also appreciate this kind of work as an artwork, as an art form of Filipinos. Yes, the church can also be an exhibit of architectural beauty. So as you can see dito sa ating screen, we have here Poway Church, of course. So it's an example of architectural work that is unparalleled in the Philippines, or a few of these churches that is preserved as much as this one is here in the Philippines. So it's an architectural marvel. And then on the lower right of your screen, you can see there an old baptismal font from Albay. So makikita nyo dyan yung craftsmanship. So not only if you are not a Catholic or not very religious person, you can see it as a product of Filipino craftsmanship. So ito ay carved stone, it is a stone. It is carved in stone and has polychrome paint in it. Okay, next, please. Okay, sorry, next. All right. Ayan. This is sorry, the previous one. Ayan. So this is the cattle caravan. No? One of our colleagues in Pangasinan, one of the advisors of Y4PH, si Ma'am Marot Nilmida Flores, she was able to study just this cattle caravan. No, but she was able to make it a profound research study. So this is a living museum. So depende sa inyong perspective, but things like this, yung mga dumadaan lang sa inyong kalsada. So maswerte yung mga nakaabot pa na nakita ito na naglalakbay sa mga kalsada natin, no. So this one, si Ma'am Marot was able to create a study about this the activity of the cattle caravan, yung mga nilalaman niya that mostly came from San Carlos. So pag dumadaan siya lang sa atin, minsan hindi natin pinapansin, minsan it's just one of those days na may dumaan na ganyan. Pero hindi natin alam it is themed with research materials. So, saan siya nakuha, sinong gumawa sa kanya, sino gumawa doon sa mga crafts, hanggang saan sila pumupunta. So, lahat yan inaral ni ma'am. Just this cattle caravan. Ang dami-dami niyang research materials na nakuha. So, ito yung sinasabi natin that the world is a living museum. No, so makakita tayo ng ganyan, so we get to the right curiosity, we may be able to think something of it as part of our general culture. Next, please. So yan, the world is a living museum. So sa kalsada nakikita natin si Manang nagtitinda ng tupig sa kalsada, pero yung tupig na yun madaming pinagdaanan, no? Yung kanyang paggawa hanggang sa makarating siya sa ating hapag. And also around us, we can see the natural beauty of our surroundings. In Albay, we can see there yung Mount Mayon, no? So our simple appreciation of the surroundings can give us the right perspective that the world we live in is really a museum and it's a living one. Tapos yung jeepney, when we ride the jeep, nakikita ba natin yung art? Napapansin ba natin yung mga paintings na nakapinta doon? Or yung mga signage, yung fonts, yung color scheme ng mga jeepney? Napapansin ba natin yon? So it's really giving the right perspective in many things that can make us appreciate the world as a living museum. Next, please. So ito gusto kong the next parts of the presentation, I chose to answer some of the common but critical questions that people pose in cultural heritage, no? Yung mga agam-agam natin, yung common questions na gusto nating itanong, no? So first, are there economic benefits in cultural heritage? Meron nga ba tayong mapapala, economically speaking, in cultural heritage? Yes, of course, no? Pero sabi ko nga, it is not easily seen or not right away, no? Hindi siya instant na pag pumasok tayo sa cultural heritage work, yayaman tayo. In fact, it's the other way around, hindi tayo mayaman talaga. But it has economic benefits, no? I would always want to tell people that I encounter with, especially those who are in the tourism industry, that culture should not adjust for tourism. No? It is the tourism that should adjust to culture. And if we do it right, no, we may not be able to attract many tourists, but I'm certain that we will attract the right kind of tourists. Those tourists that have a great regard for the culture of the people. So minsan kasi, sa kagustuhan nating makahikayat ng maraming turista sa ating lugar, what we do is that pinag-aaralan natin kung ano yung current trend, no? Yung bang magpapa-attract ng maraming bisita. Those cultural programs that can attract more visitors, no? I don't know what the context. There may be some context, but sometimes it breaks my heart when I see indigenous people dancing tapos naglilimos. I mean, asking for alms kapalit ng kanilang pagsayaw. It could because it's misappropriation. No, sometimes it's misappropriation of culture na naging hindrance dun sa paglago ng kultura. No, so are there economic benefits? I'm certain that there are economic benefits, pero hindi ito madaling makita at hindi ito agad-agad. Next, please. Okay. Cultural education. With that, so that we do not misappropriate culture, so that we can appreciate culture in its in its finest form. No, we have to educate people, and cultural education is a sustained information. Dapat sustained siya, information program. It can be in and out of the classroom, designed to familiarize the people with their culture. So, maaaring ito ay tinuturo sa classroom sa pamamagitan ng ating mga subjects. No, meron tayong araling panlipunan, dati sidika at kultura. Meron tayong yung ating mother tongue na nagtuturo sa atin ng that can teach us the mother tongue of our town, no? So that's one way of cultural education. But outside of school, dapat ito ay na-develop pa o nagkakaroon pa ng iba pang tutulong na programa outside of school. So NCCA has a lot of programs. Maraming programa ang NCCA that can help us be more aware of our culture. So, cultural information and dissemination to prevent cultural amnesia. So sometimes we suffer from cultural amnesia. So nakakalimutan natin our own culture, no? And the way to stop cultural amnesia is cultural information and dissemination, promotion of cultural literacy. Okay? So I cannot anymore underscore the importance of research in cultural education. So marami tayong mga cultural materials, history and cultural materials that can really help us become culturally literate. So sometimes this cultural education are spearheaded by the academe, the schools, of course, the artists, cultural institutions, our government, the media. Next. So, given that cultural heritage is important, so and given that there are some of them or most of them, especially those tangible cultural heritage, are in a decrepit state. So we have conservation methods. For tangible cultural heritage, we can reconstruct, we can restore. So reconstruct means itatayo mo siya uli the way it was. No? Restoration is a portion. There's a portion that you will restore because it's not anymore in a beautiful state. So adaptive reuse is totally overhauling the use of that place. So you maintain siguro yung itsura ng place, of the place, the place, how the place look like. Pero if it's a house, you use it as a restaurant. So madami tayong nakikitang ganun yun. Old houses that are turned into bed and breakfast or restaurants, some library, ganyan. And preservation. So, and whatever was left in that edifice, we preserve it. Yun. Next, please. By the way, dun sa picture, you can see there one of the foremost conservationist of wood, si Sir Chick, one of our professors in UST, si Sir Chick Padrequela. He specializes in wood. So, biruin nyo yun, he specializes just in one material. So, in that picture, you can see him getting samples from a post in Nueva Vizcaya. I was with him when we did this research. this conservation research. Next, please. Okay, heritage. What is heritage conservation? It is an action to protect cultural or natural resources. Okay, so it's a protection. So that's the key word there. It's a protection, cultural or natural resources. We can do this heritage conservation by creating strong heritage programs. Siyempre, pero yung mga heritage programs na yun should be founded in research. So we all can also formulate heritage laws. Right now we have heritage laws. Marami tayong actually heritage laws, but some kinakailangan repasuhin. No? And of course, properly implement them. Yan. Conservation programs also should be, as I've said, founded on research involving other disciplines. So, hindi lang mga historian ang kailangan natin when we are doing heritage conservation. We need other disciplines. We need an architect, we need an engineer, we need scientists, we need chemists, we need physicists, or other disciplines. I'm sure can help protect our cultural heritage, even if we are not in the humanities or in the social sciences. Next, please. Okay, so given that we need to conserve our cultural heritage, we also have to manage how it's done. No, so hindi lang basta-basta pupunta tayo doon and then gagawin yung ating dapat gawin for conservation. So cultural management is very important. So it should control overall its operations and affairs. The cultural manager should control the overall operations and affairs. And cultural managers and workers should have an understanding of the cultural realm. They should be innovative, good community relations. So an understanding of the cultural realm, of course, is very important. No? It's basic for a cultural manager. So hindi tayo pwedeng magkaroon ng cultural manager or cultural worker dapat na hindi marunong o hindi at least man lang may interest sa to understand about culture. So of course should be innovative so that he or she will be able to create programs that are engaging for the people. Good community relations is important because cultural work is working with the community. Now recently in the talks by NCCA, no, nabanggit doon ng ating mga cultural experts that community engagement is really important in cultural works. Lalo na ngayong pandemic, no, so hindi tayo makakilos when it comes to actual conservation intervention for heritage sites. Ngayon, mas dapat nating ini-empower yung mga tao to engage themselves in cultural works. So the cultural worker or manager should have a good community relations. And he or she has the ability to employ multi and interdisciplinary strategies. Alam niya kung sinong kukunin, alam niya kung anong klaseng expertise ang kailangan para isagawa yung cultural heritage conservation. Next. So, before I finally end, I would like to address some of the prejudices surrounding cultural development. No, maraming in my cultural works, marami akong na-encounter na merong ganitong pag-iisip when it comes to cultural works, and especially yung mga in the arts, no. Sabi nila it is only for the economically well-off, para lang sa mayayaman ng cultural work, no. Yung paintings can only be collected by the rich, which is not true. We can always anyone can appreciate art, even if he or she is not well economically well off. No, meron tayong, kaya nga one of the characteristics of one of the goals of cultural development should be creativity. No, so and it's not only for the rich. So lahat tayo should have access for that. Kaya nga din may mga museums, no, so that makikita natin sila. Minsan, meron akong nakita, nakasabay sa National Museum, nagdadalawang isip sila to go in. I don't know what their hesitations are. Maybe they're thinking na hindi sila pwedeng pumasok, no? Pero of course the National Museum is for everyone. Yun. So kailangan lang nating to explore more on that note. It is only a hobby. Hindi lang siya hobby, especially for me, for us, for most of the people I know in cultural heritage works. It's not only a hobby. It's more of a passion. No, it's more of a passion more than it is a profession. More than it is a profession, it's a passion for us. No, sometimes nag-uusap kami ng mga kasama ko in cultural heritage works that sa profession nito hindi kaya yaman talaga. No, because when you are culturally aware, you know that parang nakakahiya na na humingi ng bayad dun sa itutulong mo for culture, because culture is it's communal, para sa tao. So how will you how can you ask for remuneration for that? It's really so it's not a hobby, it's a passion for people. So it does not offer material gain. Sabi nga natin kanina, no, it has its economic benefits, pero hindi siya madaling makita at hindi siya madalian. No, meron sometimes one time I had this discussion with a friend about being nominated sa World Heritage Site. Ano ba yung mas importante? Is it, of course, we're being nominated sa World Heritage Site. We should always aspire for that. Pero ano ba yung mas importante? Yung honor of that award, or that we make this relevant to people. Before we go to for cultural managers, cultural workers, we should always take into consideration that before we ascribe for honors such as that, yung being World Heritage Site, being a national cultural treasure, we should first make the cultural heritage site relevant to the people. No, that is more para sa akin yun ay mas fulfilling. It is more fulfilling to make the site relevant to the people than subscribing to whatever honors we have. But of course, we will aim for that. No, hindi dapat yun naman talaga yung goal. Pero more than that, it should be relevant to the people. Otherwise, people will lose interest, hindi mo makuha yung kanilang support to whatever cultural heritage work you will undertake in your town or municipality. So dapat we create awareness first sa mga tao, because they are the primary stakeholder of this cultural heritage site. So, and then, kapag nakuha na natin yung kanilang not only interest, pero yung kanilang kagustuhan na tumulong to be part of communal work for cultural heritage, maybe then we will be ready to open it to other people and subscribe to those honors that we can get from it being declared as something really important. Okay, culture is an important. Culture only concerns only the past. Sorry, it only concerns the past. Hindi, because it does not only concern the past. Of course, knowledge of history is very important in cultural heritage work. Pero it does not only concern the past because its protection and conservation will not benefit the past. It will benefit the present generation and the future generations. And then lastly, culture is an important to governance. Usually, when speaking of governance, sorry, when speaking of governance, ang iniisip natin yung politika, okay, the political side of it. But great leaders are culturally aware. No? Yung mga totoo at magagaling na leader should be culturally aware because culture has an impact to your people, and it is something that will bind your people as one. Next. Ayan. So, I would like to end with discussing the goals of cultural development. So, ano ba yung goal? Kung bakit kailangan nating pagyamanin yung ating kultura? Why do we have to aim for cultural development? No, cultural development aims for enthusiasm of creativity, imagination, curiosity, and if you reach that level of cultural awareness, you will desire for quality. No, hindi na pwede sa'yo yung ganito lang. Kasi ayon sa kultura, ganito yung ginagawa. So, you desire for a quality of life. And it also fosters positive attitude towards pluralism and cultural diversity. No, one good example of this is that, halimbawa, here in Manila, makakarinig ka nung how the Bisaya would talk, yung kanilang O, actually hindi lang Bisaya, yun, no, babaliktad yung U or U and O o yung E at saka I. Some people who find it funny are not aware of pluralism. They are not culturally aware. They do not know that culture is diverse. Yung minsan nga yung sinabi, one time sinabi ni Presidente yung virus as virus. It's not funny. It could be funny, but it comes from him being a Bisaya. So it's not really funny. Ganun talaga. But, you know, I mean, that's how some people speak. And it's not wrong. And it's not funny. It's far from fun. Okay. It is one of the goals of cultural development is also protection of peace as a prerequisite for progress. So how do we find peace dito in cultural development? Of course, when you are aware of a common roots that you have with other people, no, you will desire for peaceful life with them. No, this commonality that cultural heritage brings or will make us aware will in turn bring us peace. Kasi we know that we have a common culture with one another. And then hopefully we'll progress from that. Handling of change with human compassion. So when you're culturally aware kasi malapit ka sa tao. So you are close with people. And so you're more compassionate. You are more aware of their culture. Mas compassionate ka sa kapwa mo. And so this is some of the values that we can get if we will develop our culture. Next slide. So lastly, I would like to end with a quote coming from one of the eminent cultural writer in the Philippines, Feliz Prudente Santa Maria, who wrote the book A Cultural Worker's First Manual, which is one of my resources for this presentation. So she said in her book that human development is the end goal of all cultural work. So hindi ito yung pagpapaganda lang ng architectural heritage. Everything should end should aim for human development, the quality of life. Yun lang po. Next slide. Yun lang po. Balaga salamat. It's kayo namin. I will get you back to Nick siguro for the question and answer, or any of the Y4PH officers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Rona. So, now we'll proceed to the Q&A. May mga questions ba? Walang nag-send